Hey, I'm Christy Mitchell, and welcome to Unfudge Your Marketing, the podcast where we talk about what really happens when marketing doesn't go according to plan. Every week, I sit down with business owners and leaders to unpack the missteps, the experiments that didn't land, and the decisions they'd probably rethink if given a do-over. But more importantly, we talk about what they learned on the other side and what you can take with you as you build your own business. Success rarely comes from getting it right the first time. It comes from taking action, making mistakes, adjusting, and showing up again and again. If you've ever wondered whether you're the only one figuring this out as you go, you're in the right place. Hello. Today I am so excited to welcome Rachel Platt to the show. Rachel brings 20 years of experience helping organizations and leaders build the clarity, systems, and confidence they need to solve complex employee challenges, navigate change, and achieve their most important business goals. She goes beyond HR compliance and day-to-day HR operations to find, fix, or implement strategic people strategy solutions around culture, employee experience, and leadership development. Rachel founded Platinum Consulting in 2018 following Chief People Officer and other executive human resources roles. As a certified women's business enterprise, Platinum serves small and medium-sized nonprofits and commercial businesses across the U.S. to ensure that every aspect involving your talent, from hiring to onboarding, developing, assessing, promoting, is part of your holistic people strategy. Platinum partners with clients to maintain a transparent, ongoing, open dialogue. We provide a data-driven, responsive, organized approach, but most importantly, we are proactive, optimistic, approachable, and occasionally funny. I appreciate that. We place outcomes before egos and work with clients who share similar values. With that, I will welcome Rachel to the show.
I'm so happy to be with you, Christy. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much for your willingness to come on and have this conversation. I am so glad that Lindsay Englerth introduced us. When I was catching up with her on a networking call, we like to keep in touch throughout the year. I mentioned, I'm always looking for guests to come on my show, and she immediately thought of you. So I am so glad she connected us, and we were able to get this scheduled so quickly.
Me too. Happy to be here. And thank you to Lindsay. And thank you to you.
Yes. And I love reading your bio. I'm like, this is why we get along so well. This is why we hit it off right from the start, because we both have this strategy mind. So I appreciate that we share that in common. And I'm really interested. I don't feel like I should say excited, because the story of what happened that you're going to share with everybody is a little mortifying, not for you, but for somebody else. And so I am eager to get into this conversation today. I'll just open it up to you. Where do you kind of want to start this conversation about this experience that you had that wasn't great in terms of somebody else's marketing?
Yeah. So, as entrepreneurs and business owners, we're always trying things. We're trying to find our place. What works with paid advertising, what works on various social media channels. And I really have found a part of my niche on LinkedIn. And over the last, I can't even remember, going back probably about 2 years, I really set a goal for myself that I was going to be active on LinkedIn, combination thought leadership, business outreach, networking, all the things. And so I'm on LinkedIn at least 5 posting, commenting, being active at least 5 days a week. And there is a woman that I met in a group. We have never met in person, but we have spent time together on Zooms multiple times. We are part of a group where we both show up on a semi-regular basis. And she is also active on LinkedIn. And a couple of months ago, she had a really good post about something that is in the people strategy space and something that I know a lot about, I am passionate about. And it was a great, thoughtful post. And I was following the LinkedIn marketing strategies of, yes, and let me add something else to it to start the conversation.
Yes.
And we both have a banter about us. She and I have had this conversation that we could go back and forth and make each other laugh and have funny stories. I think it's like the New Yorker, the Jersey girl in us, in both of us, even though she lives on the West Coast now. But like there's just a vibe.
Yeah.
And I felt like a really good connection with her. And I made this comment. She commented back. I commented back. A couple of other people got involved in the commenting. This was all
Hmm.
happening on LinkedIn. It was very positive. It was very collegial. It was very like brainstorming. And it went on almost all day. Like
Yeah.
a lot of back and forth. This was I have since come to learn this was a very, like, probably her most, most impressions on a post or whatever, if you're somebody that
Yes.
follows that sort of things.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And actually, yeah, I want to jump in there just as like a little side note. This is something that I've been talking a lot about lately inside my marketing support group with my business owners who are mostly all really focused on LinkedIn as well. And talking about this is exactly what we want to happen on our LinkedIn posts. And so when someone comments on ours or we're commenting on somebody else, it shouldn't be approached from the standpoint of, oh, I'm just making a comment and like that's it. It should be thought about as like, how can we extend this conversation? How can we have this dialogue back and forth? Because A, it builds relationships, and B, the algorithm really likes it. And so if we can have these
Yes.
sort of exchanges, this is exactly what you want to happen on your LinkedIn content.
It's all about that yes and that's what I've been taught, and that's what I'm trying for. And
Yep.
so I was like, I was kind of into it. And like I said, it went back and forth several times over the course of the day. And then I
And you
didn't
said other
think
people were
anything.
getting involved too,
Yes,
right?
other
Like
people were
that's
getting
great.
involved, other people were
Yeah.
responding, and it was meaningful. And I felt really
Hmm.
good about it. I felt good about my responses. Like we all have our own head trash. I was kind of like, hey, I kind of know what I'm talking about here. I'm smart.
Yeah.
Um, and so I left feeling really good about it. A couple of days went by. Um, and this woman and I were on a Zoom together. And I mentioned the banter back and forth, and she gave me a completely blank stare. Like, what? What are you talking about? And it turns out that she has an AI tool that she uses that she is clearly trained in her voice, and it was really good. I mean, I was definitely fooled, and I'll never trust her again. I mean, that is my takeaway, because imagine if I was a client and you have no idea of an ongoing conversation that you had with someone. That's where the challenge comes in with this AI. And I believe in AI. I think that there's lots of value that is there. But
Hmm.
as business owners and as marketers, I think we've got to be really careful to protect our authenticity,
Hmm.
protect our relationships, and think long and hard about where and how things are portraying us, or what reports you're getting, so that you can stay on top of what is happening.
Yeah.
because go ahead. I mean, like,
Yeah,
it
that's
was
what I was
really
thinking actually.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, I know. And Rachel, when we talked about having you come on the show, I was like, I like stopped us. I'm like, don't go into all the details because I want to like
Yes.
unpack this on the show so we don't miss anything. Um, this experience is like, I haven't heard one that's this kind of like, I don't even know how to describe it, but the fact that like you thought all along that you were talking to this person, like it seemed there was no question in your mind, right? Because a lot of times we can spot the AI comments from miles away, but it sounds like this
Yes.
tool was a very effective one and that it sounded just like her and was, making comments back and forth that sounded just like her. And so as you were describing this experience, Rachel, I was sitting here wondering, okay, would it have bothered you as much if she had said, "Oh yeah, that was a great back and forth, and I just want you to know it was actually my AI tool, but I stay on top of it so that I know what's happening." Like, would that have made a difference?
Yes, I actually think that it would have. But this absolutely blank stare,
Yeah.
the not coming out with it as I was like, so I guess probably I might have buried the lead here. In the course of the conversation, either I can't recall who said, maybe we should partner on this because we both do some leadership development and training in organizations. And she takes it from a very different perspective than I take it. But one of us had said in there, maybe we should find a way to partner and
Mm,
develop an offering together. Well, when she had no idea, again, no idea of what I was talking about, it
right.
just, it felt so false. And had she stopped me and I said, wow, that was a cool conversation. Let's talk about, do we actually maybe want to think about doing this? And she had no
Uh-huh.
idea what I was talking about. Had she said, "Oh, this if the this was AI, I have to go back. I'm thrilled that we had this conversation. Tell me more about it." But like she didn't double down to be like, "Oh yeah, we had it." She just like had nothing. There was nothing happening. And she was like, "Oh, uh-huh, uh-huh." And like tried to move on. And I was like, "Ooh, that doesn't feel good to me at all." But yes, your
Right.
example, would I have felt better? Yeah, I would have.
Right.
But from a
Because that's
marketing perspective,
yeah. Go ahead.
like, what do you think? What do you think from a marketing perspective? I, like, where's our authenticity? Where's
Mhm.
the line?
That's what I'm kind of like. I have all these thoughts rolling around in my head right now. Like, one of them is I always tell my clients, you have to do what feels right to you in your marketing. I do think, like, I say that, and then I'm like, this obviously felt right to her, or maybe it didn't, and she did it anyway. Who knows? But, like, for me personally, and for the clients I work with, and it sounds like you too, like authenticity is really huge. And so what does that mean? What does that look like? For me personally, I don't think that I would ever want to use an AI tool that's commenting on my behalf because I think that commenting is one of those things that's very personal. It's very, I don't know, to me, like I would be the one, want to be the one doing that. Um but then I do try and put myself in other people's shoes, right? So like if she were using if I or someone decided that to use a tool like this, I do think it's your responsibility to know what it's doing and who it's talking to and what are these back and forth conversations, like at the very least. It's funny, I keep going back to a prior guest I had on the show who's a LinkedIn expert, and we talked about, and I don't even think it was centered on AI. It was so long ago now, I can't remember the details, but I think it was more about outsourcing in general, right? Like maybe you're hiring a VA or maybe it is a tool or whatever it is. But she said you can't outsource your energy. That's what she said.
Mm.
And I feel like this commenting and engaging with people is one of those, like, that's my energy that I want to bring to that. And to your point, like, you're building relationships with people. And so how do you outsource that and not at least pay attention to what it's doing at the very least? Again, I don't think I would use a tool like that at all. But if someone were, I would be like, it's really important that you make sure you know what's happening.
So I think that there are different types of tools that are out there. There are some that make, single comments that are, AI can prep a comment for you in response, and you then can post it or edit it, which, by the way, all of my research is showing that LinkedIn knows when you're using one of these AI tools and is not really, you're not getting any algorithm points for it or anything else.
Yes.
But fine. That's not what this topic is about. That's not what we're talking about today, Christy. But there are tools that are out there that can draft a post for you. And like that to me is a good, or draft a comment for you. And then if you're looking at it, or a human being is looking at it and is, making the judgment call to make this post, great, that's fine. I'm all on board with this. But like I said, this was an ongoing dialogue. This was a conversation that other people were getting involved in. And so to me, outsourcing your energy, as you said, but also just like not staying on top of it, feels like you're really missing an opportunity to have a real human connection. Because at this point in time, like, AI is not making the buying decision. AI is not signing the paperwork. But, and like you said earlier, like, people have different values, and I'm not saying that you should not find ways to automate things that can be automated. I'm just saying, as business owners, I think we need to think long and hard about how we're utilizing it, what we're outsourcing to someone else. And maybe, look, in general, 99% of the time, maybe LinkedIn comments are, low hanging fruit, not that big of a deal. I'm just saying that I think that there's going to be more and more of these sort of marketing blunders where and I'm not talking like you said something offensive blunders, or you gave completely inaccurate information errors. Though, yes to all of that, those really exist. Right. But I'm really talking about your leadership, your credibility, your authenticity. And if that's important to your brand, and it is important to this person's brand, this woman's brand as a leadership coach, it just really feels like, ooh, we've got to do some big soul searching.
Yeah. Well, and I don't want to gloss over this either, Rachel. And if you're willing to go there with me, like, how did that feel to you? Like, in the moment of that conversation where she's not like saying, not apologizing, not owning it, not like, how did you feel in that moment? And how did you feel after? Because I'm sure this kept playing in your head.
I mean, this was months ago, and I'm talking to you about it, and it is still like, this comes up often for me, because my work with leaders and organizations, talking about their people strategy and talking about how leaders, the best leaders, the power skills, people used to call them soft skills. I believe that they're power skills. This is someone's emotional intelligence, someone's vulnerability, someone's decision-making, judgment-making abilities. Those are your power skills. Those are things that AI and technology can never take away. And so if you want to upskill yourself and be in a position where leadership matters and
Hmm.
you have a role, you need to be leaning in on these things. And so this example comes up in the moment. To answer your question, I mean, I was dumbfounded.
Yeah.
I, I am not someone who is speechless often, but I was really, I was speechless, and it felt dirty. Like it felt skeevy. It felt
Yeah.
slimy. All of those words. And that is not my perception of this woman. That is not
Yeah.
like that was not beforehand. That was not how I felt about her. And now I do, and I still do, and I still see her in meetings or at various, online events, and she still is, as a human one-on-one, she is funny and warm and insightful. And for me, she's not someone I would want to work with.
Yeah.
Just it feels it doesn't feel right to me. I can't exactly give you the word, but it just,
Yeah.
from a marketing perspective and a relationship perspective, it just, to me, it does not feel right.
Yeah, it didn't sit well. And I think that when you and I first like talked about you coming on the show to talk about this, and I was like, wait, let's not have the conversation. Like, I think the first word that came to mind for me when you were telling me about this experience was like, I would feel like betrayed, like, or
Yes,
tricked, or like
that's a
like,
better word. Yes.
yeah, like you thought you knew this person, and then you had this experience. You're like, wait a minute, like this does not add up at all. And then I don't know about you, but for me personally, I would question like, gosh, I really thought I was like a good judge of character, and like I thought that I could read people really well, and I was like totally missed the mark on this one.
Yeah. And yet in real life, I go back to, she still is this warm and engaging, eh, you know, person. And
Yeah.
I clearly think that she's bright and, you know, hard worker, a lot of things that I admire. And I personally feel, I mean, I'm not a client of hers, um, but I betrayed is a good word, like duped,
Yeah.
um,
Tricked. Yeah.
tricked, all of those things. And maybe some of that is on me. Um, but because I usually can recognize AI and her, I mean, it's also a
Hmm.
lesson for all of us in really being able to recognize what AI
Yeah.
looks like or doesn't. Um, but I don't know. I just keep going back to, you got to stay on top of,
Yeah.
whether it is your intern or someone who works for you, you need to be checking in with this person, and you need to be checking in with your AI.
Yes.
And, like I said earlier, it wasn't like the day after, it was several days after. So if she had come forward and said, I haven't I haven't checked my reports or my stats, and I don't even know how it would have shown up on
Yeah.
a report or stat. I'm not familiar with that, but if she had said like, "Oh my goodness, that means I really have to get into this," like I would have felt a lot better, and I would have been much more curious about like how this was working for her, what else she was seeing
Hmm.
from it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think,
yeah,
Rachel, all the time on this show, the goal is always like, what can we leave listeners with? And as I'm like reflecting on this conversation we've had, I think of like three things, right? It's like the first is how do we make that decision as a business owner? Are we outsourcing to a person? Are we outsourcing to AI or some sort of technology tool? Like that is a decision that we have to make, and we should do so with care and intentionality and strategy and hopefully a level of authenticity, and like that's one decision. And then Like, whether or not we're going to do that is one thing, right? If we are going to use a tool, how closely are we going to monitor it so that we as the business owner are still leading it and in charge of it and we know what's happening? And I love that you bring up this point. It doesn't matter if it's outsourcing to a VA, a person, or to a tool. We still need to know what's going on. So that's the second piece of it. And then the third piece too is what you said is like, then what do you do? Like, how do you own it? Or how do you lead with that authenticity and level of integrity, I think, to say when something doesn't go according to plan, you're like, oh my gosh, like I totally missed this. I missed the ball on this. And I didn't anticipate that like AI was going to be having this whole exchange with someone who like I'm close. And then like owning it. Like if it were me, I'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. Like this is, I mean, I'm sorry it happened, but also I'm glad it happened because now I have the opportunity to learn how I need to make sure that I stay on top of this better so this doesn't happen again. Like how we show up and own that experience that someone had with us, with our brand, is really important.
That was going to be my big takeaway as well.
Yeah.
Because that's where I have spent my time. Like this actual issue, I have thought about it from her perspective, what I wish she had done, all of those different things. But my biggest takeaway is, what would I do? And sometimes somebody calls you out, calls you in. I'm not sure if you're familiar with those different theories and methodologies of talking to someone about something that's not sitting right with them. But how you take ownership, how you try to, if necessary, make amends, if necessary, do better, or say, hey, I've been testing something and it's a little weird that this happened, but I don't think it's going to happen so often. And so I'm going to keep on. But like bringing somebody along with you as somebody, how you show up in difficult times is really telling. And that's what I have been focusing on. And so that's my big takeaway is,
I love that.
If something doesn't go right, what are you willing to own? And how are you willing to build on the relationship or continue building the relationship or rebuild the relationship by being yourself without AI?
Yes, right. Right. Owning it really yourself. I love that. Thank you so much. I appreciate that takeaway. I think that certainly gives listeners a few things to consider for themselves. As we wrap up our discussion here, Rachel, very lastly, I just want to give you the chance. How can people learn more about you and the work that you do and connect with you?
Well, since we've been talking about LinkedIn, first place people can find me is on LinkedIn, Rachel Platt, Platt with 2 T's, which is the same as how Platinum Consulting is spelled. So you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm normally there 5 or 6 days a week posting on leadership and people strategy related topics. Also, my website is platinumconsulting.com with 2 T's.
Awesome. That's great. And I assume that when people message you, they're going to be hearing back from you directly.
Oh, they will be hearing back from me. I am a real human being.
I just had to say that.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much, Rachel, for your willingness to come on the show and share your experience. I know that there were lots of valuable takeaways for listeners today.
Thank you for having me, Christy, and thank you for the good work that you are putting out into the world to help people unpack their marketing mistakes and do better in the future. I appreciate it.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. Until next time.